Boys and girls, firstly, would you please give another round of applause for the wonderful swing time sweethearts? They are tremendous, thank you. And thank you all for coming here today to Tenterden 1940s weekend. There's so much for everyone to see and do. It really is a lovely step back in time of nostalgia. And one very key figure, well, the key figure of the World War II, and a major inspiration for the country during its darkest hour, was a gentleman who was voted a few years ago the greatest Briton of all time. And I would really like you to gather round and please pay attention to the Right Honourable Mr. Winston Churchill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We do hope you're enjoying your day. Welcome to Kent and East Sussex Railway. I have a special announcement to make first of all. We have with us today a Jane and Michael Hicks, who are celebrating 25 years on Tuesday. Could you give them a nice big round of applause here? The silver wedding. Clemmy and I have just celebrated 100 years together. They both come from Spalding in Lincolnshire, where they both still live, and have come from there this weekend. Michael used to be a customer where Jane worked as a teenager. Then they lost contact, met again at an 18+ club. That's where we met, didn't Clemmy? They got married in 1993, and they have been abroad several times and love visiting Malta, and they love the 1940s. There's a son called Chris. Where's Chris? Is here. There's Chris. Also, it is Michael's birthday on Monday. Let's wish him a happy. Stand up, Michael. Come on. Well done. So it's a nice special treat. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we should never forget the brave sacrifice that has been made and is still being made in the cause of freedom. Especially when this country stood alone against Hitler and his evil Nazi regime. When after the fall of France, they were only 20 miles away across the English Channel, when Hitler looked across and he said to Hermann Goering, "We shall land on British soil." What he hadn't anticipated was the bravery of our fighter pilots and the wonderful Spitfires and Hurricanes. God bless them. Let's give them a round of applause. The gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and indeed throughout the world, goes out to the British airmen who, undaunted by odds, unwearied in their constant challenge and mortal danger, turned the tide of the World War by their prowess and with their devotion. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many, earned so few. I would now like to recall for you an extract of the Battle of Britain speech which I broadcast to the nation during our country's darkest hour, when we stood alone to stiffen the resolve to fight on, and this is an extract from it. I speak to you as your Prime Minister, and above all, the cause of freedom. We are now threatened with a planned invasion by the Nazi tyranny. We will not yield to Hitler's greed for world domination. So now it's come to us to stand alone in the breach and face the worst the tyrant can do. We are ready to defend our native land from the invasion by which it is now threatened. Shielded by our navy, our airmen from above, we await, undismayed, by the impending invasion. Perhaps it might come tonight. Perhaps it might come next week. Perhaps it may never come. But be the ordeal long or short, we shall seek no terms. We shall seek no parley. Hitler has not yet been withstood by a country with a willpower equal to his own. We shall defend every village, every town, every city. We'd rather see London laid in ruin than tamely submit and be enslaved. I am bound to state such facts. You ask, what is our policy? It is to wage war by sea, land and air, with all our might and with all the strength God can give us. To wage war against a monstrous tyranny never surpassed in the dark and lamentable catalogue of human crime. That is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory however long and hard the road may be. For without victory there is no survival. The Battle of France is over, and the Battle of Britain is about to begin. Soon the whole fury and might of the enemy will be turned upon us. We have an ordeal before us of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight on the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and with growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. Upon this battle depends the future of all civilization. Upon it depends our own British life, and all that Britain is, and all that Britain means. Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, then all of Europe may be free, and the world can move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour. Advance Britannia, long live the cause of freedom, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Three cheers for Mr. Winston Churchill. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Thank you. War II, and was a few years ago voted the greatest Briton of all time. So would you please give a warm welcome and your appreciation for the Right Honourable Mr. Winston Churchill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here today. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. But we should never forget the brave sacrifice that has been made and is still being made in the cause of freedom. Especially when we stood alone against Hitler and his evil Nazi regime. When after the fall of France, they were only 20 miles away across the English Channel, when Hitler looked across and he said to Hermann Goering, "We shall land on British soil." What he hadn't anticipated was the bravery of our fighter pilots and the wonderful Spitfires and Hurricanes. Let's give them a round of applause. The gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and indeed throughout the world, goes out to the British airmen who, undaunted by odds, unwearied in their constant challenge and mortal danger, turned the tide of the World War by their prowess and with their devotion. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. I would now like to recall for you an extract of the Victory in Europe speech. We had been through 6 years of hell and we came through it. So I broadcast to the nation on the 8th of May 1945 the Victory in Europe speech, and this is an extract from it. I speak to you as your Prime Minister and above all the cause of freedom. Today is Victory in Europe Day. This is your victory. It is a victory of the cause of freedom in every land. In all our long history, we have never seen a greater day than this. Everyone has tried, everyone has done their best. Neither the long years, nor the dangers, or the fierce attacks of the enemy in any way weakened the independent resolve of this great British nation. During our darkest hour, it was our Spitfires and Hurricanes that were our salvation. But it was the bombers, together with our gallant allies, that gave us victory. Now, my friends, this is your hour. This is not a victory of any class or party. It is a victory for the great British nation as a whole. We were the first in this ancient island to draw the sword against tyranny. And after a short while, we were left alone, all alone for a whole year, against the most tremendous military power that has ever been seen. Were we downhearted? Were we downhearted? No! The lights went out and the bombs came down, but no man or woman in this ancient island ever gave a thought of quitting the struggle. And so we came back out of the jaws of death, out of the mouth of hell, while the world wondered. You ask, when shall the reputation and faith of this great British generation ever fail? I say this: in the long years to come, the people of this ancient island and throughout the world, wherever the bird of freedom chirps in human hearts, will look back at what we have done, and they will say, do not despair, do not yield to tyranny or violence, march straight forward and die if need be, but unconquered. Now I rejoice that we can all take the night off tonight and the day off tomorrow to celebrate our victory. And afterwards, we must all begin the task of rebuilding our hearth and homes. We must do our utmost to turn this country into a land where we all have a chance, we all have a duty, and we must turn that duty towards our own countrymen and to our gallant allies, the United States. In conclusion, I would just like to say, I have never readily accepted what many kind people have said about me, namely that I inspired the nation. Their will was resolute and remorseless, and as proved unconquerable. It was the nation that had the lion's heart. I had the luck to be called upon to give the roar. Advance Britannia, long live the cause of freedom, and God bless you all. Thank you.
3 cheers. Winston Churchill. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Thank you.